Hello, and welcome back. Today we will be talking about the single most important safety mechanism in the Australian property market. We're talking about the cooling off period. Now, buying property in Queensland or New South Wales, it's a rush. It feels like a whirlwind. You go to an open home, you fall in love with the light in the kitchen, you imagine your furniture in the lounge room, and suddenly, agents are pressuring you, saying there are 3 other offers on the table. It moves fast, but here is the truth. The system actually has a built-in brake pedal, a safeguard. It's called the cooling off period. For most residential transactions, this is your legal right to take a deep breath, verify the details, do your homework, and ensure this massive purchase is actually right for you. However, and this is a big however, it is not automatic in every single case. Not every contract has it. And even when they do, if you don't understand the rules, specifically the differences between New South Wales and Queensland, you could lose your deposit, or worse, be stuck with a house you don't want. So, in this episode, we're going to tear apart the cooling off period. We'll look at the specific laws in New South Wales and Queensland, the exceptions that can trip you up, and exactly how a conveyancer saves your skin during this window. Let's dive in. Part 1. The psychology of the purchase. Before we get into the nitty-gritty legislation, let's talk about why this exists. Why do we need a cooling off period? Buying a property is likely the single biggest financial commitment you will ever make in your life. It involves hundreds of thousands, often millions of dollars. But it's not just financial, it's emotional. When we buy a home, we aren't just buying bricks and mortar, we're buying a future. We get swept up in the emotion. But what happens when the adrenaline wears off? What happens at 3 a.m., 2 days after signing, when you wake up in a cold sweat thinking, what if I can't afford the repayments? Or wait, was that a crack in a retaining wall? What happens if you change your mind? That is exactly where the cooling off period comes in. From the perspective of a conveyancer or a property lawyer, this isn't just a nice to have. It is a critical buyer protection mechanism. It is a legal time frame designed explicitly to stop you from locking yourself into a contract too early before you know the full story. It gives you the bandwidth to conduct inspections, talk to your lawyer, and finalize your finance. Part 2. What exactly is it? So, let's define it properly. What is a cooling off period? In plain English, it is a specific legal window of time that allows you, the buyer, to withdraw from a signed contract for a residential property without losing your entire deposit. Think of it as an escape hatch. It exists to protect you from making rushed, emotional decisions. It buys you time to complete that essential due diligence, things like pest inspections, unconditional finance approvals, and legal reviews that you simply cannot do in the 5 minutes while standing in the agent's office. Now, a crucial distinction right off the bat. This generally applies to private treaty sales. That means a standard sale where you negotiate the price with the agent. It does not usually apply if you buy at auction. We'll talk about auctions later because that is a whole different beast. But for a standard sale, the length of this safety net depends entirely on where the house is. The rules vary by state. Part 3. The state breakdown, New South Wales. Let's start with New South Wales. If you're buying in Sydney, Newcastle, or anywhere in New South Wales, listen up. In New South Wales, the standard cooling off period is 5 business days. Now, pay attention to the starting line. The clock starts ticking from the date the contracts are exchanged. This is crucial. Exchange is when you sign your copy. The seller signs theirs, and they are physically swapped. The period ends at 5 p.m. on that 5th business day. There is a slight variation if you are buying off the plan, that is, buying a property that hasn't been built yet. In that specific case, the period extends to 10 business days. So, what happens if you wake up on day 3 and realize you've made a mistake? You can terminate the contract. You have to provide written notice to the seller or their solicitor. But, and this is important, it is not free to walk away. It's cheap, but not free. If you rescind the contract during the cooling off period in New South Wales, you forfeit 0.25% of the purchase price to the seller. Let's do the math on that. If you're buying a home for $1 million, a 0.25% penalty is $2,500. Now, losing $2,500 hurts. But compare that to being stuck with $1 million mortgage for a house that has structural issues. It's a small price to pay for freedom. This whole process in New South Wales is governed by the Conveyancing Act 1919. It's old legislation, but it holds up. The exceptions in New South Wales now. I mentioned auctions earlier. In New South Wales, the cooling-off period does not apply if you buy at auction or, and this is a trap for new players, if you buy on the same day the property was scheduled for auction. It also doesn't apply if you're buying by exercising an option. The land is huge, specifically rural land larger than 2.5 hectares. Or, and this is the most common one, if you provide a Section 66W certificate. Deep dive. The Section 66W certificate. Let's pause on this 66W for a second because you will hear agents ask for it. A Section 66W certificate is a document signed by your solicitor or conveyancer that waives your cooling-off period entirely. By signing this, your lawyer is confirming that they have explained the legal implications to you, and you are voluntarily giving up your right to change your mind. If you hand over 66W, the deal is done. No 5 days. No escape. You are locked in immediately. Why would you do that? Usually, to make your offer more attractive in a hot market. But we'll discuss the risks of that later. Part 4. The State Breakdown, Queensland. Alright, let's head north to the Sunshine State. How does Queensland handle this? In Queensland, you also get 5 business days. But the starting gun is fired at a different moment. In Queensland, the period starts on the day the buyer receives a copy of the contract signed by both parties. If that delivery happens on a weekend or a public holiday, the clock starts on the very next business day. The penalty for backing out is the same as New South Wales. The seller is entitled to retain 0.25% of the purchase price if you terminate during the period. The legislation here is the Property Occupations Act 2014. The exceptions in Queensland, just like in New South Wales, this applies to most standard houses, townhouses, and units. But there are exclusions. The cooling-off period does not apply in Queensland when the property is purchased at auction. And here is a specific Queensland rule. If a registered bidder buys the property within 2 business days after a passed-in auction. So if you were at the auction, it didn't sell, and you negotiate a deal on Monday, you might not have a cooling-off period. Be careful. It doesn't apply if the buyer is a publicly listed company, the state, or a statutory body, or if you're buying 3 or more lots at once. It also excludes properties used for industry, commerce, or primary production. The waiver difference here is a key difference between the states. In New South Wales, you need that lawyer-signed Section 66W certificate to waive your rights. In Queensland, it's easier to waive them, which means it's easier to make a mistake. In Queensland, buyers can waive or shorten the cooling-off period simply by providing written notice to the seller. Unlike New South Wales, no lawyer certificate is required. You can technically sign your rights away yourself. My advice? Don't do that without legal advice. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Part 5. The 5 days of power. What you should be doing. Okay, so you've signed a contract. The clock is ticking. You have 5 days. This is not a holiday. This is not a grace period to just sit back and relax. This is your window of opportunity. It is a valuable chance to make sure this property is actually the right choice. So, what should you be doing during these 5 days? I have a checklist for you. 1. The building and pest inspection first and foremost. Get a building and pest inspection immediately. You need to know what is happening inside the walls. Are there termites eating the frame? Is there rising damp? Is the roof leaking? These are hidden defects that affect value and safety. If the report comes back with major issues, you can use the cooling off period to walk away or use that information to negotiate the price down. 2. Finalize your finance. You might have pre-approval, but pre-approval is not the same as unconditional approval. During the cooling off period, your lender will often do a valuation of the property. If the bank says the house is worth $50,000 less than you paid, they won't lend you the full amount. You need to use this time to get that formal letter from the bank saying, yes, the money is ready. 3. The conveyancer review. This is non-negotiable. Your conveyancer needs to tear that contract apart. They're looking for unfavorable clauses. They are checking zoning information. They're looking at easements, Is there a sewage pipe running right through where you want to put a pool? They should be checking flood maps. Imagine buying a home only to find out it's in a high-risk flood zone and your insurance premium will be $10,000 a year. 4. Negotiation if you find something wrong. Maybe the pool pump is broken or the settlement date doesn't work for you. This is your time to fix it. You can negotiate changes to the contract. With professional guidance, you can fix these things now. If you wait until the cooling-off period ends, you are legally bound to the original terms. Part 6. Pulling the ripcord. How to withdraw. Let's say the worst happens. The pest report comes back and the house is basically held up by termites holding hands. Or the bank says, no, you need to get out. How do you exercise your right to withdraw? You cannot just text the agent saying, change my mind, sorry. You must provide a written notice of termination to the seller or their solicitor. This must be done before the deadline, 5 p.m. on the last day. Your conveyancer will usually prepare and deliver this for you to ensure it meets the legal standard. Remember the cost. The seller keeps that 0.25% of the purchase price. But here is the warning. Timing is crucial. If your notice is even 1 day late or even 1 minute late past the 5 p.m. cutoff, the contract becomes unconditional. You're legally bound to complete the purchase. If you try to back out then, you lose your full 10% deposit and can be sued for damages. Do not mess around with the deadline. Part 7. The no safety net zones. I want to circle back to where this safety net disappears because buyers often assume they always have a cooling off period. That is a dangerous assumption. We mention auctions. If the hammer falls at an auction, the property is yours. No cooling off. But remember the 2-day rule in Queensland and the same-day rule in New South Wales regarding auctions. If you negotiate immediately after a failed auction, you're usually still operating under auction rules regarding the cooling-off period. Also, be aware of the property type. If you're buying a commercial warehouse, no cooling off. Buying a massive farm over 2.5 hectares in New South Wales, no cooling off. Buying as a company in Queensland, often no cooling off. And of course, if you have signed that Section 66W in New South Wales or the written waiver in Queensland. Part 8. The strategy of waiving. Let's talk strategy. Why would anyone ever voluntarily waive this right? In a competitive market, seller's market, agents will tell you that to have your offer taken seriously, you need to make it unconditional. They want you to waive the cooling off period. Does it work? Yes. It definitely strengthens your offer. A seller will almost always prefer an unconditional offer over one that might fall over in 5 days. And it's a massive, but it increases your risk exponentially. Once you waive that right, you cannot withdraw. Even if you find out the house is sinking. Even if you lose your job the next day. Even if the bank declines your loan. You're stuck. In New South Wales, the law actually forces you to get legal advice before doing this. That's why the solicitor has to sign the Section 66W certificate confirming they warned you. In Queensland, you can do it yourself by written notice, which is arguably more dangerous for the uninformed buyer. The golden rule of waiving. If you're going to waive your cooling off rights to beat the competition, you must do your homework before you sign. That means you spend the money on the building inspection before you make an offer. You get your finance fully approved before you make an offer. You have the contract reviewed before you make an offer. You are effectively moving the cooling off period to before the contract starts. It costs money up front, but it's the only safe way to make an unconditional offer. Part 9. The role of the conveyancer. Throughout this whole episode, I've mentioned conveyancers about 10 times. There's a reason for that. A conveyancer is not just someone who pushes paper. They're your defensive line. They play an essential role in ensuring your legal rights are protected. During the cooling off period, their job is intense. Contract review. They check that the terms are fair, accurate, and align with what you were promised. Risk identification. They're the ones who spot the easement that stops you from building a garage or the zoning restriction that prevents you from running a business from home. Timeline management. They manage the clock. They track the key dates to ensure you don't miss that 5 p.m. deadline. Coordination. They talk to the real estate agent, the bank, the seller solicitor. They keep the circus running. Strategic advice. Most importantly, they give you options. Based on what the inspections find, they advise you whether to proceed, renegotiate, or run for the hills. Part 10, Conclusion. We've covered a lot of ground today. The cooling off period is a powerful legal safeguard. It's a mechanism designed to balance the scales in a high-pressure, high-stakes transaction, but it is also time-sensitive. It requires you to be active, not passive. If you understand how it works, and more importantly, if you use it wisely, it can protect your finances, minimize your risks, and give you the confidence that the home you're buying is actually the dream you think it is. So, here's my final piece of advice for you today, my next step for you. If you're currently looking at property, or if you're about to sign a contract, do not sign anything until you have spoken to a conveyancer about the cooling off period specifically for that property. Ask them, does this contract have a cooling off period? When does it expire? And what do I need to get done before that clock runs out? Do not rely on the real estate agent for this advice. They work for the seller. You need someone in your corner. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this helpful, please share it with a friend, and see you next time.